Good morning, students. Already I have uploaded 3-4 audio files regarding this metallurgy chapter. Almost we have finished this chapter except Ellingen diagram. Already I told you that Ellingen diagram is little tedious one, so without board it's very difficult to explain that. So after once the class resumes, I'll try to explain in the classroom's Ellingen diagram. And today class I'll just to go through overall revision. So whatever we have discussed from so starting onwards through this video. So first what we have discussed is minerals and ore. Already told you minerals are the chemical compounds and ores are the chemical compounds which have a rich percentage of metals. And this extraction of metals, there are three main processes are there: concentration and extraction and refining. And here I told some tables are there. So this in these tables it has been clearly mentioned that what are the components, ores, metals and ores and compounds. For example, aluminum, bauxite, copper pyrites, and copper glass and cuprites. Here some other metals, lot of zinc, lead, tin, silver, and these metals and its ores are there. And similarly we have discussed about concentration of ores. So concentration is nothing but generally in ores the percentage of metal will be like 30-40%. So what we have to do, we have to remove those impurities and we have to increase the percentage of metal through 90 or 80, more than 90%. So first one is gravity separation or hydraulic wash. This is just like simply washing the ores with water, and some high dense metals will be settled down in the bottom, and ore dust particles will be washed away with water. And this is an important one, flotation. See, look at the diagram. This is the setup. So this is like pedal kind of setup. So ore will be there. We have to add some froth stabilizing agent and froth generating oil. So once this pedaling takes place, lot of ores froth will be generated. There are two types. Sometimes if the metal is heavy, metal will be settled down in the bottom and impurities will be in the froth. Suppose if the ore is less heavy or mild weight, ore will be in the froth and the impurities will be in the bottom. So we can separate it. There are a lot of another one is leaching. So this is an important 5-mark question. There are different type of leaching: cyanide leaching, and ammonia leaching, and alkali leaching, and acid leaching. So these are different chemical reagent we have to use to wash the ores. From that we can remove the impurities and get the percentage of ore more percentage. So finally, magnetic separation. This is for mainly for magnetical the metal having any magnetic properties. From that we can easily separate. So this is the setup for that. Mainly iron ores will be separated in this kind. So crust ores will be powdered and passed through this moving magnetic wheel. So the compound having magnetic attractions, metals will be separated, and impurities non-magnetic ore will be separated this side. Finish the concentration process. So now we are moving towards extraction of crude metal. So whatever the concentrated ore we have to take for this. Here there are two important topics we have discussed. One is roasting. So roasting is a method usually applied for conversion of sulfides ores into its oxides ores. So roasting is heating the ore in the presence of oxygen. See, look at the respective ores are converted, sulfides ores are converted into its oxides. PBS is converted into PB oxide, Zetanase is converted into zinc oxide, and others components are gets converted into oxides. And calcination is once the ores are gets converted into its oxides, it has to be heated in the present absence of air. So other volatile impurities gets away from this. For example, the lead carbonate is heated, it gives lead oxide. Calcium carbonate feeds, you get calcium oxide and carbon dioxide, and similarly other carbonates ores if it heats will get respective oxides. So once we converted into all the ores into respective oxides, what we have to do, this metal oxides has to be reduced by using selective reducing agents. Since this choice of choosing reducing agent for reduce the selective metal oxides, we have to opt for Ellingen diagram. From that Ellingen diagram we can take we can choose which reducing agent can be used selectively for reducing metal oxides. So another important method which I discussed earlier is smelting. So smelting is nothing but a flux, a chemical substance that forms an easily fusible slag with the gangue. So we have to add some chemical compounds that reacts with the ores and gets converted, that impurities gets converted into easily fusible slag. So that is called flux. So when in case of extraction of iron oxide, so we have to add calcium oxide, that is flux, and silicon dioxide we have to add, that is gangue. So calcium oxide and silicon dioxide both reacts and fusible slag calcium silicates will be formed. But in case of extraction of copper extraction, instead of calcium oxide we have to use iron oxide as a flux. In that case slag is iron silicate. So this is a repeated one more questions several times asked. In case of iron extraction, what can be which component acts as a slag, which component acts as a flux, and which component acts as a gangue. So these are the questions, repeated questions. You just go through it carefully. But so another one is simply reducing of this metal oxides with carbons. For example, zinc oxide, if we reduce with the carbon, gives zinc, and manganese and chromium oxides reacts with the carbon, gives pure carbon. So sometimes we can use a reducing agent. Hydrogen also we can use as a reducing agent. In that case, metal oxides directly converted into pure metals, and other oxides gets converted into waters. Sometimes we can use for reduction we can use metal also. For example, barium oxides and chromium oxide, we are using aluminum as a reducing agent. This is a very important one, is auto reduction. So component itself reacts with the oxygen and gets converted into pure metal. So this is what I told you, the thermodynamic principle applied, which has been involved in the metallurgical purification process. So this has to be explained through board, and this is a clear Ehlingen diagram. So this Ehlingen diagram it helps to choose the choice of reducing agent. I just give oral explanation, detailed discussion I'll give later. For example, look at this. This is a graph for chromium gets converted into chromium oxide, and manganese reacts with the oxygen, gives manganese oxide. So what we have to do, suppose if you want to reduce chromium trioxide to pure chromium metal, we can opt manganese, aluminum and calcium. But we cannot choose zinc to reduce for chromium trioxide. This is the information we get from the Ehlingen diagram. So whatever the metal we have to use to purify, what are the metals which we are going to purify, so we have to choose the reducing agent which is below in that Ehlingen diagram. If we have chosen above in this diagram, that cannot act as a good reducing agent. For example, suppose you are going to reduce zinc, so we cannot use iron for reduce zinc, but we can use chromium, manganese, aluminum and calcium and other things. So this is a lot of applications and limitations are there. So this will be detailedly discussed in through board. Electrochemical principle involved in the metallurgical process to purify the metals. So this generally in this process, what we have to do, it's just like we have to take pure metal as a cathode and impure metal as a anode, and some common electrolyte which can be the metal can be involved in that can act as a electrolyte. So when the power circuit starts, the anode oxidation takes place and cathode reduction takes place. So whatever the impure metal from that ion generations will takes place, that starts to move towards cathode, and pure metal continuously flows and deposited over cathode, and impurities will be deposited as a anode mud. For example, in case of electrolyte refining of silver, look at that. So we can take cathode pure silver and anode impure silver, an acidified aqueous solution of silver nitrate we can use as an electrolyte, and this is a reactions, overall reactions takes place. During the electrolysis we will get pure silver at cathode and impure silver in the anode. This refining process, selective, lot of important techniques are there. So you have to just understand and mug up this. For example, first one is Hall-Hérold process. This already told you, this is the extraction of pure refining of aluminum trioxide to aluminum. In this case, we have to use molten cryolite with the fusible calcium chloride act as electrolyte in order to reduce the melting point. So we are adding calcium chloride. So overall reactions takes place in this processes when aluminum 3 plus reacts 6O2 minus with the carbon, gives aluminum and 3CO2. And distillation is nothing but just we have to some metals having low boiling point, then impurities. Suppose if the metals having impurities which is having high melting point, so we can simply heat it. So metals will start to melt and start to convert into vapor, and we can condense that vapor, we'll get a pure metal. For example, zinc and mercury has been purified through the distillation technique. Liquefaction technique is similar again. In this case, metals will be having low melting, high remove the impurities having high melting point and metals having low melting point. So there is a sliding bridge will be there, in that metals will be splitted and we start from downstream. So generally first metals start to melt because impurities having high melting point. So once it start to melt, it start to flow through downstream, so we can collect through pure metal. So in this case, bismuth, strontium, all metals are purified through these things. So already I discussed this electrolytic refining. So zone refining is an important one. So in this methods mainly involved the fractional crystallization. When impurities, impure metals are melted and allowed to solidify, the impurities will prefer to be in a molten state and pure form will be settled down in the downstream. So what we have to do in this process, the impure metal has been taken in the form of rod, and one end of the rod is heated using mobile induction, and another heater which results in the melting of the metal of one portion of the rod. When the heater is slowly moved by the other end, the pure metal crystallize, while the impurities will move on to the adjacent molten zone formed due to the movement of the heater. So mainly impure metallites, semiconductors like germanium, silicon and gallium all are purified through this zone refining. And vapor phase refining is nothing but suppose metals and impurities both will be there. In that case, metals will be susceptible and reactivity to the selective reagents, where impurities will not react with those impure chemical reagents. For example, when nickel is there, we pass carbon monoxide and nickel gets converted into nickel tetracarbonyl, but other impurities will not react. So we can selectively separate the nickel tetracarbonyl, and if we heat to 1000 degree 400 degrees Celsius, it gets decomposed, we get pure metal. And similarly, Van Arkel method in a titanium and zirconium, if it reacts with iodine, it forms titanium iodide complex, which is highly volatile, and we can separate that compound. Other impurities will not react with iodine. So that volatile compound, if we heat it, decomposes into titanium and iodine. And other lot of uses of metals are there. So this you can read by yourself, and some book pack questions are there. Almost more some 17 questions are there. So except elegant diagram, so other questions you can go through it carefully. So next classes I'll try to start new chapter. Yeah.